Gielinor, the magical world of RuneScape. It's divided into chunks for easy use. Welcome to Chunkman Dead Die Kill, the series where I conquer the landmass of Gielinor by doing tasks and unlocking chunks. Last episode we completed 3 tasks to unlock 3 chunks. Those tasks were achieving another 25 level ups for a total of 1625, and then we completed 50 more easy clues for a total of 350 easy caskets opened now. Our map expanded with the Barbarian Outpost, the northernmost chunk of Sleep, and the chunk in the Veldip Hills with the Fairy Ring. With unlocking that last chunk, we are now able to start another quest, so that's going to be our starting point today. We're going to do the big chompy bird hunting after we unlock this chunk, so let's unlock it on the map as well, and then we're going to use the fairy ring here to get there. There we go, right inside our newest chunk, and now let's go to Rans to start the quest. Rans here is hungry and wants to feed his children, but he doesn't have any arrows to use with his bow here, so we have to make him some arrows. He said we can make some arrows out of wolf bones and the achi logs here from the achi tree. So let's first of all make the wolf bones into wolf bone arrow tips, chopping a few achi tree logs and making them into ogre arrow shafts. They need some feathers, of course, and then we can add the wolfbone arrow tips to finish the arrows. Let's see if Rans is happy with these. Now for a prey for Rans. He wants to kill some chompies as they are the most delicious meal he can think of, but to get a chompy bird to get down to the ground, it needs some bait. For that bait we will need some swamp toads, and they need to be blown up with some swamp bubbles as well to make them more tasty for the chompy bird. First of all, we need something that can hold the swamp gas before we put it into a toad. So here in the home of Rans and his 2 children we can find a locked ogre chest where we can find the bellows. There we go, let's take 1. And now to go to the swamp itself to grab us some toads. With the bellows we can suck up some of the swamp bubbles here. There we go, that's 3 uses. And now we can use it on a toad here. And there we go, we have a bloated toad in our inventory. Let's ask Rans what we need to do with the bloated toad for the chompy bird to come and get it. Okay, a bit further on there's a clearing where we can drop the toad. Let's see if that brings us a bird. We need to get a bit away, of course, otherwise the bird won't show up. And there we go, after a little wait there's a chompy bird feasting on the toad. Rans should kill it now. Yeah, there we go, firing his arrow, but he misses. Let's talk to him, maybe you can do it better than him. There we go, that's the bow, some arrows, and let's see if we can hit the chompy bird. Yep, there we go, 1 chompy bird down. And now to get the meat of the bird to prepare. Let's talk to Rans with the raw chompy, and let's see if that is enough for him to cook the bird to feed his family. We helped Rans to get him his bird, but apparently that's not enough. We need to prepare it as well, as the last time he tried that didn't go all that well. Rand said he wants some potatoes, but let's see what his children want. Bugs here wants equa leaves with his chompy bird. And now for Ficey. Ficey wants tomatoes with his bird. So let's go and collect those items and let's cook our bird. There's our potato a bit further on. Equa leaves just next to it. And then let's steal a potato from this ogre. Yoink. And now we need to spit roast the chompy with the other ingredients for them to have a nice meal. There we go, that's one seasoned chompy. That should be what Rand wanted. And that's the end of the quest as well. We got 2 quest points, 1470 cooking experience, 735 range experience, 262 fletching experience. Some weird numbers here, but okay, experience is experience. We got the ogre bow we used to kill the bird, and we are also now able to make more ogre arrows. A fairly fast quest, but a quest nonetheless, which means we have finished another task, and another task means another chunk. That was our 66th quest. Big chompy bird hunting has now been completed, and that brings us up to 210 landmass chunks unlocked now. And then back to our map. The last chunk we unlocked was the Feldip Hills chunk with the fairy ring, and that now gives us a possibility to unlock more of the Feldip Hills, although I don't really see any use in any of these chunks. If we look to our map, we are pretty much making indentations into the map. We have an indentation over here until we reach Barbarian Assault, then over here until we get to the end of Westerdoin, then the same to the Three Gnome Stronghold, and now one in the Feldip Hills. It would be nice to make them connect a bit more. But either way, it's still the chunk picker who decides. So let's see what we get. Big chunk. Okay, first of all, just some void where Menaphos is. So that's a reroll. Let's pick a chunk. And we get the Forgotten Cemetery with the Ankus in the Wilderness. That's actually a quite dead chunk. There's a hard clue step, that I know, but for the rest I think this is pretty dead. Because we have now done the big chompy bird hunting quest, we can now free Scratch here from his time prison. So let's inspect Scratch here to see what food he needs. To free Scratch we need a jubbly chompy, but how to get a chompy like that is beyond the gypsy here. So we need to go back to Rand and ask him about it. Back at Rand, let's ask him how to get that special chompy. Rand here wants to go to Karamja, which is not that far away, but for that he needs to have some vessel to bring him there. So he brought this tree down so we can make a boat out of it. So let's use a rune axe and see what kind of boat we can make. There we go, that should be good enough. He still doesn't want to give us the secret on how to find a jubbly chompy, and instead we need to go to Karamja, make sure there is steady ground for his children to get us, And if we make a chompy there, his children will smell it and come and get us. So off to Karamja we go. Here alongside the beach we found the arrow rans fired at the Karamjan island. So if we cook it over here with the iron spit we got, let's see, there we go. With the small cutscene we can see the children of Rans coming to get us. Let's take them up on their offer to get us back to Rans. So let's board the ogre boat. And then there we go, back to Rans. A bit of an odd way of getting about on the map, but a useful one nonetheless. So let's talk to Rans again, and let's hope he gives us the secret to the jubbly chompy now. If we understood Rans correctly, the jubbly can be lured if we make a toad, but the toad needs to float. So let's try to do that. Let's first of all get another toad. We need to make sure it floats, so we need more swamp gas. So let's use our bellows again on the bloated toad. There we go. And with one of the rocks we mined here, we made sure that it did not fly away. Let's drop the toad. And let's wait until we get a bird we can kill. And there we go, that's the jubbly bird. Let's kill it with our arrows. And that's the jubbly bird down. Let's pluck it for its meat. There we go, a raw jubbly. And now we just need to cook it before we can give it to Scratch. There we go, that's a cooked jubbly. Now the only thing we need to do is go back and finish this subquest. One jubbly for Scratch. And that's the end of the subquest. We get 1 quest point, 1500 cooking experience, 1500 woodcutting range and crafting experience. And the most important part of all, we now have more of the Culinero Mancer's chest we can buy from. 5 more council members to rescue, but that was the subquest completed, which means we can finish that subquest also on our spreadsheet and pick another chunk. Another one of a fast quest. The next part of Recipe for Disaster, freeing Scratch, has been completed. That was our 67th quest now, and we are up to 211 landmass chunks unlocked in total. And then back to our map. The last chunk we unlocked was the Forgotten Cemetery in the wilderness, which now makes it possible so we can unlock the entrance to the God Wars dungeon, but that would actually be a bad unlock as we cannot get there without the Trollheim chunk. But anyway, let's see what we are going to get as a new chunk. Let's pick a chunk. And there we go, more wilderness. This is the mine with the hobgoblins. But I think that's about it of what's in this chunk actually. Nothing really here interesting except that we now have a somewhat of a shorter path to the Fountain of Ruin. But yeah, not that great of course. With completing another part of the subquest for Recipes for Disaster, that also means we can now buy more items. There we can see that the steel gloves have been added. So let's buy a pair and maybe let's compare them. It's just basically a +1 in everything. So a nice little upgrade for our melee setup. For our next chunk, there's nothing really much to do as we just rolled 2 wilderness chunks, so let's just go back and do some more easy clues. That one accidental open, it has been a while, so that's 351, and we will open 24 caskets later on. And there we have the next 24 easy caskets. We brought along red just to give us a bit more luck. To recap, if you go to the collection log for easy clues, we are currently at 351 with 70 uniques obtained, so more than half now. For all of the uniques, we really just only want the flare trousers, all the others would be extras. So let's see what we're going to get from these 24 caskets. That's a duplicate willow comp bow. And that's another duplicate, a steel kite shield gilded. And there we have our first unique. A new unique, the black shield. We probably have all of them now. No, we're still missing the 5th one, but we have 4 out of 5 now. And there's another duplicate, a black wizard hat. And another new unique, a powdered wig. 2 duplicates, black plaid skirt and the pantaloons. Another new unique, pretty nice, green elegant shirt. Ooh, a duplicate leather body and a new unique, the iron full helm trimmed. And that's it. We got up to 375 now, and that gave us actually a lot of new uniques and a lot of duplicates as well. So a pretty good opening. But anyway, that's our task completed, so let's go back to our spreadsheet and see which chunk we are going to get. Before we complete our task, the Giant's Foundry has now been released, and with that comes the quest Sleeping Giants, so that has been added to the spreadsheet. For now, that was our 39th clue task, getting up to 375 easy clues completed. And that brings us up to a total chunk amount of 212, and we can see we have 164 quests now instead of 163. And then back to the map. The last chunk was the mine here in the wilderness, which doesn't really unlock anything else. So we still have the same possibilities to unlock new stuff. Let's see what we're going to get. Pick a chunk. And we pretty much get the worst one we could have gotten, and that's another piece of land on Mosle Harmless. 2 more to go and we have the full island. That's going to be all for this episode. Next week we will be doing the newest quest, so that's something to look forward to. If you've reached this part, you might as well press the big red button under the video. Press that little thumb pointing up, as it makes a number go up, and that's pretty much in line with what's fun in old school RuneScape. Have a lovely day, and see you next week for more Chunkman progress.